Welcome to a tutorial on how I use this resource with my students. I'll share any tips and tricks that work for me, but of course do feel free to modify as you see fit for your own students. So this is an Earth Day edition of the Pronouns with Y activity, and the language task is essentially the same as the original activity. So this is where students decide to give an item to him or her. And then we get to ask them why. Why did you make that decision? And they'll answer with like because she or because he. So that's how you work on the language portion. And I will leave the link to the video, to the original version in the description. But in this activity, instead of an item, the children or the students will decide which child gets the Earth Day Award ribbon because one child is making a kinder choice to the earth than the other. Okay? And it says down here, this deck includes an introduction to activate the students' thinking and a lesson on the 5 R's, which I will go over just now. So moving on to the next with the next button. As usual, here's a playable instruction. You can try it out. So decide who the ribbon goes to and then ask them why. Why did you give it to him? And there's time to think of or discuss because. And in this case, because he's reusing his water bottle. And after the discussion, submit to check for the answer because it will move to the next card. Submit. And in this activity, what's different from the other original activity is that you will have another page afterwards to recap on the decision that the children made. So this is how this whole deck is set up. You'll have the decision making and then this recap page. Okay. Press next. And this is where the actual lesson starts. So it asks 2 questions to invite the students to think about how we actually coexist with the planet Earth, and it helps to prime them to think about the impact that we have. So it says, have you thanked your planet today and made choices to keep it well? And I usually invite the students to say, hey, what are these? And it's pretty clear they all know this is a sky, forest, flowers, and ocean. And I will ask them, have you seen anything like this before in your neighborhood? And they usually say yes. And then I'll also, you get to click on each of these and I would say, okay, the sky, have you seen sky or air like this before? How about a forest like this before? And fields of flower, or have you even seen fields with trash like this before? And the ocean like this. So you click through each picture just to show them some of the impacts that we have on our environment. And I tell them these are both realities of our planet. And this is a great time to teach some of the relevant vocabulary like pollution, deforestation, toxic, landfills, things like that. So I take time to talk about that for this in this slide. And then when that's done, we'll go to the next page. And this is the 5R lesson. So I tell the students everyone can trash less and waste less. And these are 5 R's that we can do. And it starts, the top one is the first thing we can try. So try this first, refuse. So say no thank you if you don't need it. First of all, you just refused the item. If you can't do that, you're going to reduce it. So you're going to get less and use less of it. If that's still not enough, then you can reuse. You can use one thing over and over. And then if that's not a possibility, then try this. You can try to repair and repurpose if you can't reuse it. You can fix reuse in other ways. And then last but not least, last option is to recycle. So put the thing in the recycling bin or rot in case of food scraps so the facilities can revive them. And then the last one down here says landfill, teeny tiny. So these are the 5R lessons. And then the next page is where the actual regular language skills or activity starts. So like I said, just proceed through like the regular activity, decide who it goes to, talk about why, and then submit and talk about recap on that decision. So refuse or reuse, stop buying single-use plastic bottles. Plastic is very hard to recycle. Reuse your own water bottle. Just like that. So there are 10 items where the students get to make decisions along with their recap pages. And at the very end, you have this recap page. So at the very end, once you're done going through all the pages, you can ask the students again. So would you like to live on this version of the planet? Or would you like to live on this version of the planet? And typically the answer is this beautiful planet. So you can use this deck to work on the language skills, or even with students who don't particularly need that language skills, it'll give them great lessons on Earth Day and bring awareness to all the impacts that they have on our planet. So that is pretty much how this lesson goes. So I hope your students learn something from it so we can all do our part to keep our planet healthy. Have fun.